Motorcycle sales, as well as any sale of expensive merchandise, can get very sophisticated. And I want to just take a look at that first sale for Bill Anderson, just to understand how difficult these sales can be. Now, as far as filling out this journal, that's not difficult, okay? Filling out the journal is really a piece of cake, because what you'll have is you'll have an invoice with Bill Anderson's name at the top. It will have an invoice number. It will have a date on it. And it's going to have a whole bunch of numbers. And all you've got to do is be able to tie each of those numbers to one of these columns, and you could train someone to do it in just a matter of a couple minutes, okay? So what we're going to do is look at you're going to be the one that would set this up. You'd have to be the one that would figure out what columns to put on the left side and what columns to put on the right side. You'd have to do that. So what we want to do is look at how you would do that. Okay, now looking at Bill Anderson's sale, Bill gave us a bunch of stuff. He didn't just give us cash, he gave us a number of things. What all did he give us?
Cash.
Okay, he gave us cash of how much?
$250.
Okay, so we got cash, okay, and that's all he had in his pocket at that moment, okay? He said, what's that?
Looks like you got a trade-in.
That's right. So he also had a used motorcycle. He said, I don't want this anymore. I want that nice shiny one there that you have, and here's my old rusty one that I used to have, okay? Now, how much value did we give him for that? Okay, so I'm going to put that down in used cycles, okay? It's actually going to go into my used cycle inventory account, right, at $800, okay? What else did he give us?
He asked for
Okay.
payment.
Okay, so he said, I can't afford to pay you all the money right now. Can you work this on a financing basis? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay, and so how much are we going to, or is someone going to finance for him?
$31.20.
Okay, and so that's a contract, right? And are we going to keep that contract ourselves, do you think? No, we're going to sell it to the bank. If we were going to keep it ourselves, then this would be a notes receivable account. But since we're going to sell it, it's going to be contracts in transit. And how much is it again?
$31.20.
Okay, okay, good. Okay, we got one more thing.
He's going to pay some of it. $30.69.
Okay, good. How much?
$150.
And what do we call that account? Accounts receivable, because it's those terms. Now, I'll tell you probably what happened. Whoops. Accounts receivable. How much again? Tell me again. 150. What probably happened was the sales manager said, you know, we'd love to sell this to you, but we need to have $400 down. We need to have $400, and then we can finance the rest, but we need $400. We need about 10% of it down. And he says, well, all I got is this $250 right now. That's all I brought with me. And he said, can you bring in $150 next week? And he said, oh, yeah, I get paid next Tuesday. I'll bring it in Tuesday. So what is that? Accounts receivable, okay? Now, the chronology that happens is typically we negotiate a price, right? Then we say, this is how much cash I can give you right now. Okay, I've got my trade-in, and I can give you $150 next week when I get paid. And so what the balance is the contract. Okay, so this is the last number that we arrive at typically. Now, if we add up all of those, how much will we add up to? Well, let's see. We got $400, $1,200. It looks like $43.20.69, right? Are these debits or credits?
They're all debit.
These are all debits. Okay? Okay. So, we got one side of it done, don't we? Okay? Now, the right side of this journal shows where it came from, correct? Why did he promise us all this or give us all this? What was the reason? What was the primary reason? He wanted the motorcycle, right? Okay, so we wanted to make a sale, right? So we've got Honda sales. How much should we sell that motorcycle he's got now? How much should we sell it to him for?
$32.87.99.
$3287.99. Okay? Why? But we're a long ways away from this. Why? What else did we sell him? Or what else did he get? Okay, there were taxes that we collected from him, right? Okay, what do you think those taxes were on? They were on the used motorcycle. Because you pay property taxes for cars and motorcycles. Part of those property taxes had been accrued already. And when we go pay that motorcycle off and try to sell it again, we're going to have to pay all the property tax for past periods too, which he had used up. So we're going to collect that property tax from him. How much are we going to collect? How much? How much property tax?
$164.40.
$164.40. Good. Okay. What else? What's that? License and those are fees that we're going to have to pay when we go get this license. So license fees, how much are they? $12.50. Good. Okay. What else?
Over here, it has a vehicle tax. That's $46. What's that?
The $164.40 is sales tax.
Oh, thank you. That's sales tax. Thank you. I was thinking, okay, so now property tax. This is the property tax on the used one. And how much is it? $164.40? Or $46? $46. That looks better. Okay, that looks more right. Okay, what else?
You have your insurance cost.
Okay, now, as a dealer of a motor vehicle, one of the responsibilities we have is to make sure that they're insured before they drive off. If they drive off uninsured and get in an accident, we potentially could have some liability here. So we have gone to a insurance sales agent, and we have said, would you mind if we sell policies in your name? Now, what do you think they said? Yeah, that'd be fine, And so what will happen is maybe this was a weekend or an evening. The insurance agent wasn't available to handle it. So we just wrote up all the paperwork here and took care of it. And Monday, when the insurance agent is in, then we'll call them up and say, hey, we sold another policy for you. Okay? And Bill Anderson needed that policy. He didn't have insurance himself, so he needed that policy before he get. Why don't we just tell him, well, why don't you wait until Monday? Why don't you wait till Monday when you can talk to an insurance agent?
We want to get it off our lot.
We want to get it off our lot, right? We don't want that over here till Monday, okay? So we're going to sell him insurance, and how much is he going to pay for that insurance? $620, okay? Okay, good, okay? One more item, I think.
Yeah, trade-in.
He hasn't paid off his trade-in yet, okay? So we need to pay that off because we can't sell it until it's paid off, right? We can't even offer it for sale until it's paid off. So we have the payoff on the trade-in, and how much is that? $189.80. Okay? How much do you think all that adds up to?
Should add up to $4320.69.
$4320.69. Okay? So our debits equal our credits. Okay? Pretty involved, isn't it? A lot of things that we got, a lot of things that it came from, but do you see? That's the process we would go through in establishing this journal, is we just look all sorts of things. What sorts of things could we get from a customer, and what sorts of things we'd be selling or would we be charging these customers for? That's the process you leave to, okay? Okay, so that's the sales journal. We're going to post each of those columns to the general ledger. Let's turn the page. The next page is the used sales journal. Similar type properties exist with the used sales journal, so we'll have the same types of columns and entries. Let's turn to the next journal. The next journal is the parts and service sales journal for the parts department out and back that sells these parts of motorcycles and services them. Again, very similar. Let's turn to the next journal. Next journal is cash receipts journal. What are we ultimately recording in the cash receipts journal?
Our deposits.
Our deposits, okay? Now I want you to notice something, and I want you to pay special attention to this instruction, or else you'll do a lot of work you don't need to. I want you to notice down at the bottom of that page, notice where it says balance forward, do not post. Do you see that? Okay? What do you think that means? Don't post those totals, okay? This is simply, this journal is 3 pages long. Why? Because we wrote a whole bunch of cash receipts, okay? So at the bottom of each page, we have added in all that page and any balance forward from the previous page. Go to page 3, and you will see the final month's totals. And those totals include all 3 pages, so that is the only page you want to post. Does that make sense? Sure. Okay? Now, so all you're going to do, and whenever it says a memo column, remember, what does that mean? Don't post it, okay? You're only looking at posting that bank account on the left-hand side for the deposits. And on the right-hand side, you're going to record all the credits, all the sources, okay? And notice also on the far right-hand side, there's a recap of several different accounts there. Make sure you post those as credits as well, okay? Turn the page again. We have our cash disbursements journal. The cash disbursements journal is a list of checks, isn't it? We have 3 pages of checks, okay? So again, it says down at the bottom, it says balance forward, do not post. So turn to the 3rd page, okay? On the 3rd page, you will see the totals. They're about, 5 or 6 lines down. But notice the recap over on the right side of the cash disbursements journal. Do you see that? There are 2 columns of accounts. This is a real live company. This is typical of the cash disbursements journal in a company like this. You hit almost every account in the general ledger, in the chart of accounts in the cash disbursements journal. So having a recap this size is not that unusual. Now remember, we're talking a manual set of books. Typically, in a computerized set of books, we aren't limited by the size of the paper. Okay, we could have just a lot of accounts going to it. So make sure you post all those. Now that recap, will they be debits or credits?
They're all going to be debits.
They're going to all be debits. The credit's going to be the bank account for the total amount of checks. The debits are going to be all the things on the right side. Okay, turn the page again. Next page is the general journal. We have several different entries. Again, they are given, they're provided. So the things that we want to cover in this particular class begin with the posting process. Now that doesn't mean you just accept everything in the journals that we've done as being clear and obvious and you can't ask questions on it, okay? If there are questions, feel free to do that. But don't worry about, did they, is this balanced? It does. It balances, okay? The journals are correct and we trust error-free, okay? You don't have to check. I have had students go back and check thinking that maybe we were trying to slip one through, and it's not the case, okay?
So they just wasted a lot of time.
That's right.